Hey, 2 weekends ago, Jeremy Foley and I took my 2005 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution down to Austin to compete in the Optima Batteries World Championship Autocross for $25,000.
Well, you said $25,000, not quite aggressively enough, so let's try to work on that next time.
Maybe we should say it together at the same time. $25,000! $25,000!
Basically what we had was the biggest prize in autocross ever. Had 100 people go to the Circuit of the Americas. That's an F1 track. Granted, we're in a parking lot. It is an autocross after all. But still, for $25K, you know the competition's going to be fierce.
That's right. And here's the thing. There were no classes, there was no PAX index, there was no brackets, no runoffs, no handicaps, no modifiers, and no second place. Just one winner, and one winner takes it all.
This was the ultimate run what you brung style competition. You take the fastest car, take the fastest driver, no excuses. You get it or you don't. There is no second place. AKA Ricky Bobby, you are either the winner or the loser.
You're either first or you're last.
Thank you, I couldn't remember that for the life of me.
So here's how it went. I provided the car and Foley provided the superb, top-notch, best in the industry driving skills. But spoiler alert, unfortunately, we didn't win. I have to admit, in hindsight, I was a bit overly optimistic to think that my Evolution 8 was ready to win in its current state.
Let's be honest. There were definitely some challenges here. We had a car that was basically untested. 1 week before the event, we figured at least 2 of the 4 shocks were blown. The other 2 were leaking excessively.
Right.
And we thought, well, how bad can it really be? Well, we figured out it was quite bad. So
a lot worse than we thought it was going to be.
I mean, in all reality, the car did pretty well considering.
All things considered. I'm impressed.
we raced against guys that have years of development, tweaking and fine tuning and getting their cars dialed in. And, you know, again, like Jeremy said earlier, we may have been a little overzealous. We unfortunately did not get the win due to the status of the car and some of the issues that we had to face.
Well, let's take a look at your fastest clean run, which was run 5, versus the $25,000 winning run put down by Jeremy Swenson in his 2011 Chevrolet Corvette ZR1 on his 5th and final run.
The other Jeremy, okay.
The other Jeremy. There's a lot of Jeremys involved.
Apparently, I'm not even the fastest Jeremy. Why are you guys watching right now? I don't have any tips for you. I'm Jeremy number 2.
All right, I've got the video pulled up here, and you haven't seen this side-by-side comparison yet, so I'm really interested to see your reaction to this. So you ready?
Show me the action.
And here we go.
Okay. Well, clearly got him off the launch. And into the opening element. Wow, out of the slalom almost identically. Oh, wow. Yeah, he got out of that slow turn much faster than we did. That's really where the car was struggling right there through that opening sweeper, just bucking and bouncing. And I mean, that was it right there. Those 2 switchbacks. The car turned fine. I mean, it was actually like really well balanced there, but I couldn't apply any power. And especially, as we know in a 4-wheel drive vehicle, being able to power out of corners aggressively and early compared to 2-wheel drive cars is one of the main advantages of that platform over, again, 2-wheel drive counterparts. And we couldn't do any of that on really any corner of the circuit.
So let's take a look at a couple of sections real quick. Let's look at the beginning part.
Okay.
I'm going to pause right about where I think that he catches up with you. So,
okay.
684, his final run, and puts him in the 7th place over Jeremy Swenson on track.
And Swenson, if this is going to be your next heavy hitter right here, Swenson.
He catches up to me in and through the slalom. Actually, I'm ahead of him slightly coming out of it by half a foot maybe.
All right, so let's just play it forward just like 1 second.
Okay. Oh yeah, now I'm back half a car almost. He immediately put half a car length, which is amazing because that's not only a short amount of time and a relatively short distance as well, immediately able to make up a big chunk right there.
So let's look at it going into the second turnaround. So
right
here you are,
the first
coming
180
up the hill. After the first 180, getting ready to go in. Does it look like maybe he's turning in earlier and you're maybe turning in later?
It's hard to tell from this angle. I know that element was really tough. The car did seem to want to understeer a lot there, and I had some issues really getting as close to the entry cones as I wanted to be.
Now I just want to jump to what I think is probably the most troublesome part, heading back up the hill towards the finish line.
Yeah.
I'm going to play it once, watch the Corvette over that area, and then I'm going to play it again, and let's watch the Evo.
Okay.
Watch the rear end of that Corvette.
Yeah.
This is really well.
And that was it.
Yeah. A little bit of a power slide and just accelerated cleanly up the hill. I mean,
Right. Now focus on the Evo going up the hill.
Okay.
This is really
And it's hard for people to understand when we start talking about the way that the suspension reacts with this bucking, which again, we don't know if it's a suspension issue or a diff issue, a combination of those or something entirely different. But you think, okay, so what? It's a little bumpy. What happens actually is as the car becomes unloaded, it affects the accelerations. It's like stopping and starting and starting. It's inconsistent acceleration. So when we say that we can't put power down, it's not because of traditional wheel spin, it's because the suspension is so violently reacting that power is not being applied at all.
All right, so let's watch the final part in that final turn around the final cone going into the finish line.
Okay. Oh yeah, wow. I mean, again, immediately obvious there's a big chunk of time there. So the Corvette is able to not only get turned in better, it looks like it's able to maintain more speed. Yeah, I mean, he's able to just throw it in there, but accelerate all the way through that element. Visually, you can see where he just pulls ahead, and it's purely from acceleration. He's able to apply all the power smoothly where we were not. And regardless of the horsepower differences or not, and I'm sure his car makes way more power than ours does, but regardless of that, we weren't even utilizing our full power. We couldn't put it down anywhere. So that is shocking to see him accelerate through 50 feet of course and just pull ahead immensely right there. I mean 3 car lengths of acceleration, and he pulls a whole nother car length on us. And that is insane. Wow, interesting footage.
So there we go. So I was trying to think of a few things. The Evo seems like it's kind of a tall car, like it's very upright. There's a lot of weight at the top of the car that's causing it to, maybe exacerbate some of those body rolls. But then, of course, the fact that we've clearly found that the shocks are just completely dead. They're not dampening anymore, and those springs are they're just bouncing the car. So all of those things, and then maybe looking at maybe we should reconsider going to a softer sway to really allow that rear end to be more pliable while stiffening the front end. I'm just not sure. We're definitely going to have to do a lot of research and testing.
Agreed. There's no easy button, unfortunately, on this, and despite the massive potential in the car and the platform, we've barely scratched the surface, and I think that's why we felt like we had a real shot of winning this event, as we knew that Jeremy put together a really fast car with a lot of potential. I drove very well, and certainly I think most people would consider a top-tier driver with the competition that was there, and yet we finished 11th place. And why is that? Well, there's a number of reasons why. As we've uncovered in breaking this down, it's not always just something simple or something easy. Oftentimes in racing, it's a harmonious event that has to take place for everything to get the success that you want.
Right, and on top of that, I don't even want to talk about those Cheater 200 treadwear tires and the electric heater blankets.
Oh, let's not talk about the Cheater tires.
Issue. Hey, look, if you can't beat them, join them. Next time, we're getting the Cheater tires.
Well, next time, and Jeremy doesn't even know this yet, but I've already planned it out. So most guys in the Evos run the 295 Kumo. It's a little bit tall because it's a 19-inch tire. But the Corvette guys can run those in the fronts. You know, it's actually a little small, but in the rears they run a 355. That's 355 millimeters in the rear. Most of the Corvettes, there's plenty of space for those types of tires. And in the Evo, I mean, it's just impossible to run that much rubber, but we're going to make it work.
Yeah, these 315s were already sticking out probably a good 2 inches, and they were rubbing the inside fender. But I was thinking about this. If I put a spacer in there and get a 12-inch wheel, hey, who cares if the tire sticks out 6 inches? We're running that bad boy.
Exactly right. Yeah. So in closing, next year in the Evo, we are going to try to test fit some 355 Kumo ACRs, probably just in the front, but regardless, we'll make it work.